This Watkins Glen NASCAR 2024 weekend betting recap and 500th episode edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code RACESGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHM.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you asked me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome to the 500th episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. For 499 episodes, he's been Cody Zeeb. For 499 also, I'm Rod Villagomez. Cheers to everyone out there. Cody, a milestone, my friend. 500 episodes of the show. You don't look a day over 499, Cody.
Wow, thank you. What a compliment. I appreciate it. 500 episodes, Rod. It's outstanding. Can't believe we've made it this far. Thank you to all of you guys who've listened to all 100. Maybe this is your first one. Thanks for listening as well. Hold on. Let me check my notes here. We're talking about Watkins Glen Superspeedway today, right, Rod?
Oh, my God. I'm so glad you said that because I was literally thinking to myself as I was watching the last 15 laps. I said, holy cow, how did this turn into Watkins Glen Superspeedway? I don't get it. This was
what did we have last week, Rod? We had the most calm fucking drafting track race in the history of drafting track races in Atlanta. They saved it all for Watkins Glen, and holy chaos. Wait till Bristol this coming week. My goodness. Ooh, buddy.
I was trying to place a live bet on Mad Max. I didn't know if he was out there or not, but or Mad Max Verstappen, actually. I love that. But yeah, look at this was, I have thoughts. My brother texted me later or yesterday. He was like, did you catch the Xfinity race? And I said, yeah, I have thoughts. I have plenty of thoughts on the matter. So, yes. Justin checking in, CB top Ford, C Bell top Toyota 70-1.
Hell yeah. That is a nice hit there. I know we gave out the Busher part of it. So yeah, just adding the Bell part of it. That worked out very nicely. TK. Hi guys. SVG. So close in both races this weekend. Andrew, cheers to 500. Thanks, Andrew. Appreciate that. And JDK saying, Rod, you need to change your cups. Hooters no longer allowed. Actually, I believe that somebody's knocking on your door right now. They're repoing that cup so they can pay Hendrick Motorsports all the money they owe.
Let them come take it out of my cold, dead hands. It's been a hell of a weekend. I've earned every bit of that Hooters. And have you know, though, this was given to me on my birthday by the staff at Hooters. I didn't even have to steal it like most people do. They were like, here, keep the mug. You can have it. And I was like, you know what? Thank you. I will. Lovely folks at Hooters. So yeah, I know Hooters isn't allowed anymore, but if you want to sponsor the show, I'm way open to it.
As long as we get the money up front.
That seems like good advice no matter where you're at all. Speaking of money up front, folks, let me tell you that the NFL college football season, they are in full swing. So you make sure to subscribe to the Sports Gambling Podcast and the College Football Experience. You're going to get free picks for every game against the spread. I don't know what New Mexico's line was against Fresno State Saturday, but it had to have been at least 30 if you were going to try to cash the New Mexico side of it, because got to tell you, those Bulldogs came to frickin' play, going to the Pac-12 in style. So enjoying every bit of that. So make sure you listen to the other guys. They'll give you even more than that. So All right, Cody. JDK, surprise.
JDK, surprised it's not Applebee's. What you don't know, JDK is, most people just have like glasses in their cupboard, and that's what they use. Rod just has a cupboard full of Applebee's glasses. So,
which is funny. I did have an Applebee's Brutus glass once upon a time, but I think that one broke. So, JDK, you're not too far off at all.
I got a nice little Winston cup mug here, Rod.
Ooh, that's a Stein, my friend. What are you doing?
Yeah, I know. I should be. Well, I don't want to drink out of it because it's nice, but Winston Cup Champions, the 25th anniversary. This is from like a long time ago. 1992. So
I would probably drink out of that and ruin any collectors at all out of it. But all right, we are talking about Watkins Glen and recapping the weekend that was. Like you said, Cody, I mean, it was.
What was the word we used all week, Rod? I can't.
Chalk?
Yeah.
Chalk?
Oh, boy.
Chalk. Here's what's funny, though.
Hashtag freezing cold takes.
Well, I was going to say, if we were grabbing our favorite flavor of chalk, the chalk for this one would have been shit flavored, because I guarantee you right now, this was not a pleasant.
It's like those jelly beans you thought you were grabbing, like Tutti Frutti, and instead it's like blasted monkey ass or something. And you're like, oh, God damn it. You're like, oh, you pop it in and it's just like, oh, no. Oh, no. What did I just take?
Well, they call those bean boozled. That's what they call those, bean boozled.
They do.
Look, I was first and foremost, it started during practice and qualifying, because all of the chalky drivers that we thought were going to do well had a terrible day of qualifying. We're looking at you, Larson. We're looking at you, all of those other guys that started in the back of the field. And from there, it just compiled itself.
Well, and then that, I mean, literally panned out bad right off the bat in the Cup race. I mean, if you didn't qualify good, all of a sudden there's a massive wreck on lap 1, and playoff drivers, Ryan Blaney, doesn't even complete a single lap, which, God, his luck these last couple of weeks has been absolutely brutal. But yeah, Bristol is going to be on a Saturday night under the lights of the last great Coliseum, Rod. I don't want to jump ahead, but we are going to have ourselves an old-fashioned battle at that place to make it to the next round of the playoffs.
Oh, 100%. And then, retired drivers like Martin Truex Jr. decide they want to remember how to drive all of a sudden, and then start on the outside pole and lead a ton of laps and make you go, what? Well, okay, 4 laps, but still, that's a ton for a retired driver, and make you go, why was I not on Martin Truex Jr.?
Yeah, but the finish was about where you thought it would be. So,
well, yeah, essentially, that's where you want it to be. But again, it had you thinking, why? Up until he decided to pit and put himself back in the field and never recover from that. Congratulations goes to Chris Buescher, who went from 24th to 1st in the entire race. So good on him for being able to survive the mayhem. Carson Hocevar, 3rd place finish after a 29th place start. I wish we would have put him in a top 10, but we kind of shied away from it, thinking, well, we've been on it too many times this weekend or this last few weeks and hasn't hit, and we should have, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Just like shout out to the top 10 too. I mean, some of the names up here, Carson Hocevar, 3rd place. And these guys that got these finishes, it wasn't like, as chaotic as this wasn't some crazy like, oh, late race restart, weren't really up. Like Carson Hocevar was holding his own right behind SVG for laps upon laps. 3rd place finish for him was great. Zane Smith comes home in 5th. That's a great finish. Briscoe in 6th. LaJoie in 8th place. That's 2 career top 10s outside of super speedways now that he doesn't have.
Crown him.
That's right, Rod. And that's all 3 Spire cars in the top 8. Holy shit. Nobody had that on their bingo card. Ryan Preece with a 9th. Austin Cindric, which we more expected, but 10th place for him. So, yeah, just shout out to some of these guys that, placed it inside the top 10. What a freaking race this was.
Well, it was a race. TK's pointing out playoff points chasing changed the dynamics of the race. Yes, but your second part, I think, changed it even more, and that was the 99 yellow at the end of stage 2. Everything would have gone everything would have gone a whole hell of a lot differently had Daniel Suarez not brought out that caution at the end of stage 2, because now instead of trying to flip the stage, these guys are staying out. And so, they would have flipped the stage had this gone green the entire way. There would have been no way that this would not have gone. The conversation would have probably been, should we probably stay out? Nah, let's go ahead and pick it. But 99 brought it out and forced their hand and changed the complexion of the race.
Yeah, and shout out to them for being able to adjust and make the correct calls, because at that point, like, oh boy, this is not good for them. It looked like it sort of screwed them, right? And crazy because Trackhouse car spins and screws his 2 Trackhouse teammates next year. Like, oh boy, that's rough, but obviously ends up working out at the end of the day. All right, Rod, what do you think? Should we start breaking down these bets?
Yeah, it's not going to take very long, honestly. There's only 1 or 2 good ones in the entire bunch, and the rest.
Well, you know what didn't take very long, Rod, for AJ Allmendinger to be out of this race. I believe he got damage on that first lap incident, and then his transmission immediately was toast. So the top 10 at -138. That is rough to swallow. Unfortunately, does not cash. AJ over McDowell also doesn't cash. McDowell ends up with a 7th place finish, much better than we gave him credit for and what we thought he was going to do, because his history at this track hadn't been very good. He ran pretty solid throughout the day, so shout out to him for that. But yeah, these bets were literally cooked on the first lap. I talked to Ricky Stenhouse in the DFS episode. I was really excited. I played him some of my lineups. I had somebody hit me up this morning, and they were like, "Hey, I've got all these options for this fantasy league. Like, need to pick one of these guys." And I'm like, I look at Ricky Stenhouse, like, sneakily good here, and he pulls it up, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this is great. Like, he's not good on road courses, but he's good here." Like, and then lap 1, his day's over, and it's like, motherfucker. But hey, that's just how it goes sometimes, and unfortunately, we missed out on that one, Rob.
Yeah, AJ's problem wasn't because of the crash. AJ's problem was just pulling up at the first one. He was 6th place, and something snapped, and that was it. His day was over.
Yeah, that's right. He was, well, he might have actually been like sort of the start of the crash because he was up so far. But yeah, it just, man, you barely didn't even have my popcorn done yet, Rod. I just sitting down and shit hit the fan.
Yeah, AJ, it breaks my heart because who knows what could have happened with him if he would have just stuck around. The title sponsor car too, gone.
Yeah,
go bowling, go home.
It's a 13. We should have known. Like, that is just. Look it up. Green cars and 13, bad luck in racing, and happens again.
Yep, tough stuff. I had all of the following drivers to finish within the top 5: Larson, Byron, SVG, and then we were like, you know what? Hell, let's just say top 10 too, because that's probably going to be where they all end up. Only one of those 5, or one of those 3, ended up in the top 5, and it was the only one that I really thought was going to be. And that was Shane Larson. Pit penalty. Byron gets, oh my God, Byron gets freaking. What I love the most is that when Byron got put into the wall at the end of that race, he kept spinning to try to get himself off of the wall and off of the 6th, I think it was.
Yeah, boy, what a wreck that was when Byron ends up on top of Keselowski. And then, yeah, he does get himself off. And then Keselowski finishes the race. Byron finished the race. He ended up 2 laps down, but Keselowski's still on the lead lap with that beat up car. And Byron limped his home for, a fucking shitty finish. Glad I saved him all fucking year for the one and done pool. That worked out really well for me. Jesus, that was rough. But yeah, just like, this race was so chaotic. This is the opposite of what we thought was going to happen, and just how it goes sometimes. I really don't even know what to say about it. It just, man, this was not on my, three Spire cars in the top 8. Like, you start there, and already, like, that's hard enough for them to do at a Daytona or a Talladega, let alone a road course. My goodness.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this was the kind of chalk where you think it looks like one color, but when you start drawing, it's a completely different color, and you're like, whoa, where did this? I thought I had blue, and it's drawing pink. Like, what's going on here? So that's what kind of race this was, and most certainly not what we thought it was. We'll get back to more of those bets in a second, but first, let me tell you about Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy Pick'em gives you a chance to win 1,000 times your entry. NFL's back, and there's a ton of Pick'em specials to get you started. Plus, great action for college football. The lobby's jam-packed with profit boost and no sweat entries. Hey, the only one that I missed this weekend for the Cup race was McDowell. Had him worse than 9.5. Yeah, he ends up finishing, in the top 7 or something, but nailed Gibbs worse than, and nailed Bowman worse than. I'm telling you right now, if McDowell would have had the race, maybe if there was a lot less caution or a lot less craziness, we would have seen that one hit too, whatever. But tail us. We're having a great time doing this Underdog Fantasy and having some success on it as well. In the meantime, though, before the next race, sign up with our promo code RACESGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Underdog Fantasy promo code RACESGPN. Chat's blowing up here. Let's see. We got Byron was unlucky. It wasn't worse. Honestly,
he was lucky it wasn't worse. Yeah, I mean, he's lucky that car didn't go over the Armco barrier there. Like, oh, man, watching that replay too. Like, it looked like he was just gonna take off. And Keselowski too. He was underneath of Byron's car on the driver's side there. Like, pretty crazy. So,
and for Byron to keep spinning the wheels while he was on top of another car, it was like, dude,
jeez, bro.
His hood? Stop it.
Joe wants to know what color chalk Snosberry is.
Whatever color this race
not
was.
Very good if that's the chalk we ate. And yeah, I have no idea what JDK is talking about. So
oh my God. This
being
is the
old guy,
dividing
but-
line. This is the dividing line right here. If you know what this is, then you are old.
Color.
Like the old hypercolor t-shirts.
I'm
Cody probably has no idea.
Googling it right now.
You know how you could tell the hypercolor t-shirts on young ladies?
That's fancy.
The handprints were someplace where they weren't supposed to be. That is how you got ratted out.
Okay.
And for guys too, like we loved to just do this and put them on our shoulders and make it look like, we got hugged or something like that. It's a shirt that changes colors, Cody, because of the warmth of your hand.
I'm surprised this is not coming back with the kids today, but I'm sure it'll make its rounds in the next 10 years, Rod.
Oh, I bet it will.
Anyways, let's get the show back on track.
Okay,
Rod. Something I was right about. Chris Buescher. God, I talked Chris Buescher up a lot this weekend. I should have talked him up a little bit more. Top 10 at plus 220. Absolutely criminal that they gave us this line. Told you how fucking good he's been at road courses, how good he's been here in the next gen car. He has been out fucking standing at road courses. You saw it again today. He took advantage of one of the best road course racers in the world, making a mistake on the last lap, passes him, gets the win, an epic race at the end. But the top 10 was never out of the question for Chris Buescher here. He was going to score a top 10 on the day. Starts 24th, not the greatest of starting spots. But once he got his way up there, I mean, he was definitely going to be a player throughout the day, the remainder of the day, and of course, wins the race. So that doesn't get much more top 10 in there. And then just to hit on the next one too, I did have him as the top Ford as well at plus 450. So hit him at plus 220 for the top 10, plus 450 for the top Ford. I think that's about the only things I hit, which helps, I guess, ease the pain a little bit. So not a great day by any means, but that does make it a little better. Was very right on Chris Buescher. Just wish I'd have gone a little bit heavier on him.
Well, and look, for Chris Buescher too, he was just sort of there in the first part of the race. And like I said earlier, that strategy call, the whole pitting when they pitted after the Suarez caution, and that strategy that they put themselves on was obviously the winning strategy. And what helped him more was the gap that he had between him and Chastain and SVG. He had like 4 or 5 cars on the restart gap between him and them. And so as they were starting to pass everybody, he was already far enough ahead that SVG, if there was maybe 2 cars less in front, or maybe even, just a smaller gap less in between those guys, I think SVG would have been able to pull away and not overdrive the car on that last, not even lap, the last S's, I think it was, that he ended up overdriving it. And yeah, I mean, but good on Chris Buescher though, because obviously this was not an easy race to move from the back of the field to the front and win the race.
Yeah, so absolutely. He did great. JDK saying he got plus 300 after qualifying as well, hit the top 10 twice and the outright at 16-1 live, which is great. Buescher was 90% of his card. Well, that's a good day for you. Boji Joe as well wanting to know, why was McDowell's car not faster after his practice times? He was fast, right? And he showed up there kind of throughout the day. He led some laps and was running up there in that top group for a while. But this is why I don't love leaning into what practice times look like, because after practice, it was all about, all these tires are wearing and everything's crazy. And then we get in the race and there's guys on 45 old tires that are beating guys who just got brand new tires. Like, what about the tire wear? But the rubber gets laid down and it's not the same. And it's just these practices are so short, they're so condensed. Different people are focusing on different things. There's some stuff you could take from it for sure, but I just think some people look way too much. I gotta wait and see what's practicing. Well, I gotta wait, and it doesn't always work, right? I took Larson and Byron beforehand, and I probably should have got better numbers later, right? It's not foolproof system, but I just think that some people look way too hard into what they do in practice and qualifying, when qualifying is literally one lap most of the time, right? You get a second lap if you make it to the top 10. But in practices, there's such short versions, and you get different groups, and the track temperature is different. And half the time, when we practice at the same time, we're going to race at, and it's like, so I just that's my one comment on don't look too much into practice and qual. Again, there's things you could take from it, but I don't know. I prefer to usually get most of my bets in earlier in the week.
Well, and even still, too, and Boji Joe, we'll definitely get to Reddick here in a second, but practice usually runs into much clearer space, so we don't see traffic indicators. But also, too, there's different strategies on even practicing what they're wanting to see out of the car. Not just we're going to go and run laps and see. They're testing the things. Like, we need to see how the brakes perform. We need to see how this lap you need to give me 90% so I can see where we're at in this, right?
Yeah, and you've set things up based on your sim, and so like you've already kind of got a baseline, and we want to try this. Does this work in real life? And yeah, you're not in race conditions. Like, that's a great point, TK. You're not bunching it all up going into turn one, going crazy. Like, everybody's spread out. They're picking their own spot. They're in clean air. What's my car do? Your car does a lot different when you're out there fucking racing somebody, which you're not doing in practice too, which is, again, that's why it doesn't always translate. Now, sometimes raw speed is just raw speed, and yeah, it does, but not always the case.
In practice, you're not trying to drill the hood of the guy that you're trying to get off of his car. That's not what happens in practice. All right, Boji Joe, talk about Reddick being one of the points. Yeah, Reddick. I had him as a top 3 car. I mean, did we see Reddick? I mean, other than the when they showed him crashing.
So I heard a post-race interview with him, and in one of the wrecks, I don't know if it was the first wreck, or what, somewhere he got damage and just felt like he lost like all his speed. So I think a majority of the day, in his opinion, he was running around with a car that was just down because of the damage. So whether that was actually the case or he just sucked, who knows? He was fast at practicing qualifying, so. Again, take that for what you will. And he's been the best road course racer in the next gen era, right? So I think there's something for that. But I think he got damage on that first wreck, and then the car just was not good for him the rest of the day.
Yeah, no, it was pretty much garbage the rest of the day. He did qualify 16th, so he wasn't that fast in qualifying.
Yeah, 16th, right there in the hornet's nest. And yeah, Boji Joe saying the LaJoy wreck, which was it a little Joy wreck? I get it. Everybody wants to blame him. He was getting pushed pretty hard too in turn 1 there, but
I'll blame him. I'll blame him just because it's Corey LaJoy.
Maybe it was his fault, Rod.
Yeah. Reddick did not finish top 3. Just to get back to that one.
Unfortunately, yeah. Top 4, I already said we hit Busher plus 450. That was kind of the goal. I tossed out Cindric as well at 6-1. Cindric has a good day, ends up in the top 10. Kind of what you're looking for. Of course, there was a lot of Fords up there. Wow, the top finishing Toyota was 14th. I just realized that. That's pretty crazy.
Crazy.
But anyways, so yeah, we hit the Busher side of it, plus 450, which we already kind of talked about with the top 5. So good day for that one, Rod. Not a good day.
Good day for plus 450s all around, though, because we hit one in F1 too.
Oh, yes, we did.
So sorry, go ahead.
I like it.
Continue.
That was all I had, actually. It's your turn.
Okay, well, because this next one for me, I'm gonna be able to gloss right over it as well, and that's AJ Allmendinger to win Group G. Elliott, Gibbs, and Bell. Listen, I would like to go and
yes, like
Chase Elliott finishes in 19. Ty Gibbs finishes in 22nd. Christopher Bell actually ended up finishing in 14th. Not great finishes. If AJ Allmendinger could have stuck around up at the front, this would have cashed and then some, because AJ would have kept himself in the top 5 100% if that car would not have broken.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're 100% on. I mean, look, if you go into this race saying that none of these other 3 guys are going to finish better than 14th, will Allmendinger finish better than 14th? Fuck yeah, you're going to bet on that at plus 275. I mean, it's not even a question. So again, you didn't even get a chance to see what AJ had because he was out on the first fucking lap. So
we saw what he had. we didn't see what he could have had.
Yeah, I guess. This sucks.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Yeah.
Are you good?
Moving on, Rod? I don't know.
You want me to move on to the next
I feel
one?
like no, it's my turn, but I felt like we needed a commercial break, but maybe we don't. I don't know.
No, you could do this next one.
Okay, we'll do this one and then we'll do the commercial.
Yeah.
Logano top 10 plus 260, Gilliland top 10 at plus 500. I told you guys there wasn't going to be any long shot top 10s. That definitely was the case. Hocevar, Smith, Briscoe, LaJoy, Priest, all long shot top 10s. So my bad there. The Logano one, look, he ends up finishing at 15th at the end of the day, but I thought at points he was maybe going to win this race based on the strategy they were pulling. If some things would have fell right, like they were kind of going all stops out for it, right? Didn't quite work in their favor, so doesn't get it done. As far as Gilliland goes, 16th place. He did start in 37th. I don't remember seeing or hearing from Gilliland all day. I'm surprised.
Oh, they said his name a couple of times. They said Gilliland. Like
Gilliland.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in full disclosure, I wasn't listening to the whole broadcast because we had a volleyball game, but I was watching, and I just don't remember seeing Gilliland. So, the Gilliland one, I don't think really had a chance. The Logano one, though, looked like a pretty good bet at times for sure because they were kind of, they have that room to gamble, and my God, they've got it feeling so good about winning last week. Now, all these people who had problems early in this race, all the people who are worried about points going into Bristol, and Joey Logano just gets it. Joey Logano probably going to win next week because there's no fucking pressure at all on that dude, and props to them for that. That's you want to put an emphasis on winning, Rod. Holy shit, guys like Denny Hamlin are concerned. Guys like Ryan Blaney are starting to sweat a little bit. Guys like Kyle Larson are sweating a little bit. Oh man, just Joey Logano out there, whatever, however it works, it's good.
I'm sweating a lot of it actually right now. I don't know why all of a sudden got so hot in this studio, but no, listen.
Say hi to your wife for us.
Yeah, she was handing me my my charger for my laptop because I need it. It's starting to go.
Yeah, that shit happens.
Yeah. So I'm looking over there. No, listen, for Logano, I almost thought for a second there he was really going to steal something because, like you said, they had.
I was looking. I don't have great access to live lines very often, and I wanted actually at one point I was like, "What's he at? I'm going to go bet him." And of course, there was nothing up for me in my limited options at the time, so I ended up not having a chance to, which of course worked out. But yeah, I mean, I was sort of convinced at one point like this is going to end up being Logano getting it done, and yeah, he didn't. But I feel like this was still a good top 10 bet.
I just kept thinking, even your Logano. Like I thought this was going to be the race that busted him out again after winning a first one. So, all right. We let's do this. Let's take another break and we'll go commercial free for the rest of the way through in this 500th episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast. Hang tight. We'll be right back. Let me tell you first about BetUS. We're brought to you by BetUS with the best in the business, BetUS. BetUS has been around for more than 40 years. Bet anywhere because BetUS is available in tons of locations, including internationally. I know we got some international fans. Go check and make sure. BetUS does not just mean BetUS. Just means BetUS. You can bet wherever you want. BetUS has a massive props menu, same game parlays, and some of the best boosts in the business. Plus, an all-new live betting experience. Easily deposit using cryptocurrency and get lightning fast payouts. We gave you a ton of great BetUS bets last week, so we'll continue to do so. They got some great lines. They're giving you some good deals. So use our link. You can sign up and get a 125% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. Promo code SGPN. Got to know that we sent you. BetUS, America's favorite sports book. Have you ever wanted to create your own sports betting model for football? Do you even know what a sports betting model is? Well, SGPN's proud partner, Rhythm, is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. Build your own model, copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or press build a model for me, and Rhythm gives you predictions for every game and player prop and also has a myriad of stats, research, and trend analysis to give you even more betting insights. Hey, I've been using Rhythm to actually build the models for some of my favorite player props that I've been writing for on Sportsbook Review. Actually, I've been pretty damn good. I've been hitting a majority of these bets and having some fun doing it. So make sure you go do that for yourself. and you can start hitting your own bets. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. One thing I did say was going to happen in this race is that we were going to get over 6.5 drivers to lead a lap. I told you.
Did this like double or triple? It had to have.
It was, well, it's funny because it didn't necessarily. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 drivers to lead at
Felt
least
like a lot more than 9.
It kind of did, and then it kind of didn't at the same time, right? Because we had Ross Chastain who came out and led 51 laps, and if you're telling me that somebody led 51 laps in a 90-mile race or 90-lap race, I'd probably say that the under is going to hit here because the other couple of people are going to lead 40 and then maybe 30 something. No, the next best one was Chris Buescher that led 19. Michael McDowell led 7. Joey Logano led 6. Truex led 4. LaJoy led 2. Go LaJoy, probably the only 2 laps he's ever led at a road course race. And then Shane led 1. Hocevar led 1. Even Alex Bowman got into the mix and led 1 as well. So this one was a great way. What was it? Minus 115 as well. So not necessarily all that juiced. And you got a chance to cash an over 6.5 drivers to lead a lap.
Yeah, this was a great call by you. Obviously, it blew past this number. And I probably would have leaned to the other side because I thought it was going to be Kyle Larson and William Byron top 5s at even money, Rod. Neither of these hit. Byron, I was so excited when Byron pitted at the end there. I'm like, all right, here we go. We're going to make some hay with these tires. We're going to get a caution or 2. We got a caution, Rod. Unfortunately, it was William Byron that was the caution. So, yeah, that's just how it goes sometimes, and it's unfortunate. Larson just he sort of started a little farther back, but he'd worked his way up there. Then he has the what was it? He drove through too many pit stalls or whatever because of the backwards pit thing. The guy's short, he's little, he can't see over the steering wheel, couldn't see the orange box, and that kind of killed his momentum and his day. So, Larson ends up in 12th, and then Byron, of course, 34th after that wreck at the end, but not indicative of how he ran on the day. But man, just big swing and a miss. And while we're at it, Rod, I had those 2 guys as my outrights. Plus 750 for Larson on a road course, plus 900 for Byron on a road course that he won last year. I think these were both good value. Obviously, they didn't really even have a chance of hitting, but I don't necessarily regret placing these bets.
Yeah, and I wouldn't either. Again, we really did think that this was going to be a lot more chalky, and essentially practice and qualifying just kind of made this whole thing out the window. So can't really fault us for saying that the best road course driver and the second best road course driver, or maybe third or fourth, I don't know, one of these guys were going to be within the top 5, if not both. Definitely can't fault you about that one. All right,
just for the record too, I think saying that the car that starts in the pole is going to lead a lot of laps isn't like crazy.
Don't get me started. I didn't even pull up this column because I don't want to.
We're not going to do it because I don't talk about that person. But
no, we see you. We love you. We acknowledge it.
Whatever. I probably told you on the DFS show that whoever sits in the pole is probably going to lead a lot of laps. So there you go. That was before I saw practice and qualifying. So
I could clip that out for you.
There we go. Pat myself on the back and
give yourself kudos for actually reading what's on the screen and listening to the announcers as they tell you that somebody's fast on the screen. I could do that. You know what also I could do? I could predict stage winners. Woohoo! I had stage 1 winner as an odd car. Cody, what number is Martin Truex Jr.?
Is he still racing? I thought he was retired.
He is retired, but I mean, he still has a car number on the side of it.
Is he driving the 78? No. 19. That's right.
Yeah, the 19. Guess what? That was the one that won stage 1. That was an odd car at plus 115. What car does Ross Chastain drive? The fastest car after practice and qualifying that we can give ourselves credit for saying he's going to have a good race.
The fastest car on the planet, Ross Chastain, in the number 1 watermelon machine.
And that's odd too. Hooray. So yeah, stage 1 odd winning car, stage 2 odd winning car, plus 115 for both of those. I thought it was going to be the same driver that did them both, but I mean, whatever, man. Who would have
won stage 2? Oh, you're lucky. I think Logano would have won.
Logano, yeah,
which would have been an even number. But hey, woulda, shoulda, coulda doesn't count in what actually happened. So yeah, great call by you. Both of these hit, and we'll take it.
Yeah, we'll definitely take it. All right, and then of course, I would pour one out, but my poor board is already messing up. Which, by the way, who was it that said Rod versus technology is the I think that might have been either JDK or something. The reason to tune in.
I think it was Dos Flacos.
Yeah, Dos Flacos. Rod versus technology. The reason to tune in to this show. It kind of becomes that way lately, as everything starts to age and crap out like me. But yeah, so okay, I had SVG to win this race, plus 900 boost. He leads one lap in this entire race. But God damn it, if he was not the fastest freaking car, I would like to take this second to read a tweet from our friend Shane Van Gisbergen. I'm sorry, Ginsbergen, as these announcers love to butcher names that they can't freaking pronounce. Anyways, Shane,
don't make fun of people messing up names, Rod. That's what I do all the time.
As far as I'm concerned, I'm going to have to start rereading everything because Algier is not Allgaier. All right, gutted, says Shane Van Gisbergen. As I turned in, I got a little loose and clipped the inside wall. Driver error. At WeatherTech Camaro was really good. Race was awesome. And the At Cullig Racing team was great. Had a lot of fun, but this one stings. You're correct, Shane Van Gisbergen. This one stings because at 9-1, they should not have had you at 9-1 to win this race. You, my friend, had the fastest freaking car all damn day. You had the opportunity to put seconds on it. That last caution, I would have loved to have seen the showdown between you and Chris Buescher on the last 4 laps as you caught him, because that would have been the race. These restarts, these 15 different restarts, like you did get across and you made that hell of a move on that last restart. That was a ballsy ass move. That car was Tokyo drifting in Watkins Glen. It was a beautiful, beautiful move. And then you got a little too squirrely. Yeah. And that's what did you in.
It happens. And you know, some of his comments after, it seemed like he thought maybe Buescher was going to rough him up. So he was trying to stay away from him, pushed it too hard. Maybe he just made a mistake because Buescher was pushing too hard. Who knows? But SVG, once again, Rod, has shown us he's fucking good. And you're going to put him in Trackhouse cars next year. Look, Cullig brings some okay cars to these I almost called it a super speedway because that's how it races. But they bring some okay cars to these road courses. But even we saw in an Xfinity, they didn't bring. I mean, they both finished top 5 somehow in the Xfinity race, which we'll talk about in a minute. But they did not bring top 5 cars to there. But Trackhouse cars are going to be good. We see it consistently from Chastain. Even Suarez is good on these road courses. And he's going to have shots to win at every single road course next year and continues to show us he's really fucking talented. And he's definitely going to make a run for it each and every time we're on a road course. So shout out to SVG for getting close, Rod. Unfortunately, it doesn't cash your bet. Nico checking in. Interesting to see SVG have a much better day in the Cup car. He's actually been better, or he's been better in the Xfinity car at most of the double duty weekends. You said duty.
Yeah. And
just I think, you know, the level of chaos that kind of played out, took out some players early maybe. And then, he's fucking good. And sorry, Boji Joe, I think you're wrong here. Put AJ in that car and AJ wins. I think SVG's proving, because they're in equal equipment for the most part in both these series, that SVG's the better driver right now. AJ obviously is great over the years and has won a lot and has been impressive, but SVG could potentially be the best road course driver in these series, as JDK points out. I don't know if I want to crown him just yet, Rod, but boy, he's real close to getting that crown if he doesn't already have it.
Just crown him already. Just crown him. Look, here's what I'll say about that. If we're doing the AJ SVG comparisons, it's AJ is definitely the more seasoned veteran in this, but SVG doesn't know what he doesn't know. He is more willing to take the risks that AJ won't. And moreover, if you the temperament between the two, right? I mean, AJ is just in his head. I game recognizes game. You want to talk about a guy that gets in his way more often than not? That's me. So I recognize that in AJ. Like AJ, you can even see it, the exasperation in his face after the when he was getting interviewed. Like that's his life. He just lives it right here, right? Whereas SVG, he's just driving, man. Like He's got nothing to lose. He's already had a successful career down under. He's coming up here now. He's playing with house money. Signed to a gigantic contract. Dude, it's coming up SVG, right? And he's just living life and loving it all. So he's willing to just go out there and hang that thing off and have the back wheels off the ground as he's just trying to hit the gas to get past Buescher. Like, that's the difference between those two. And I think you're right, Cody. AJ's the more talented NASCAR driver now, but I guarantee you that you give SVG the rest of the season at the beginning of next, we could be seeing that switch.
I think he's already passed him, Rod. I think we've already handed that mantle over. Honestly, I think that he's really shown him. But speaking of really showing him, Rod, should we move over to the Xfinity Series race?
Yes, please. I love that because I still hate this race.
Speaking of Trackhouse drivers, Connor motherfucking Zilich, first career start on a road course wins. You ever seen this script before, Rod? Ty Gibbs, baby? This kid's fucking good. I think we sort of maybe brushed over him in the betting episode. He was only like 8-1, 9-1. I think we mentioned it. It was like, I wish we could just get better odds. Obviously he wins, so if you had him, it's a good bet. But yeah, there was no. I mean, we know that he's good. We know he's talented. I didn't think he was going to win in his first race, especially. Again, we talk about how fucking loaded this field was. Like, think of all the people he beat to win this race. And, there were some circumstances at the end, and it took the gas strategy, and they throw the caution maybe too early that they should have. Who knows? But he was fucking fast all day. He kind of proved throughout the day. Rod's getting his airbag breathing or airplane breathing bag out over there. And yeah, just, man, the fuel saving he did, like, yeah, for such a young kid. And I know he's got a road course background. I know he was on the path to F1 before, all of this stuff, but boy, it was just absolutely impressive. So shout out to Connor Zilich getting his first career win, being 1-for-1 at the age of 18. Got to feel pretty good.
We didn't hate him. Like, we were on him. What, in the truck race too, right? We've been on this kid before. Like, it's not as if we haven't praised his driving ability, but show me the tickets. If you had Connor Zilich out there to win this race, show me the tickets. You are a much, much more braver analyst than I, because I was not willing to crown him yet. I knew he was going to be fast. We know he's going to be fast. We know that 88 is fast.
Yeah, it's again, like, we look at this from a betting aspect and from the number with all the people in this race, it just didn't make sense. Kind of like betting on SVG didn't make sense because the number's too low. Not because he shouldn't be fast, not because he wasn't fast, not because we just talked about him being one of the best. Because look, he didn't win at plus 110. It's all a numbers game, and that's just the thing you have to keep in mind.
Yeah. Again, and that's the other thing too. Shane Van Gisbergen didn't win in this one. In fact, he ended up starting in 13th. He had a hell of a drive to get to the first to the top spot. Led those 14 laps, but again, we're talking strategy. We're talking things that knocked him out and himself to knock him out. And by the way, NASCAR, your cautions on road course races. Screw each and every one of you who has the button. Do you know when to push the button? I guarantee you right now there was a couple of those that we're on a road course. For God's sakes, even F1 throws local cautions and not full course cautions when the rest of the field is not impacted. One car that can get back on the track and is out of the racing line is not a caution. It's not.
Thank you, Rod. Appreciate your definition on that.
I want the button. Give me the freaking button.
There's just consistency would be nice, I guess, is what we're asking for here, because it's very inconsistent.
I could have 3 of these and still push the button at the right time.
He's doing it right now on the show, so there you go. All right, Rod. We started off the card with a winner, Justin Allgaier over Sam Mayer at plus 110. I said Sam Mayer is probably going to be really good. I said Sam Mayer was going to have a chance to win this race. Sam Mayer was going to be battling for it. All of the above, check, check, check. Sam Mayer's not been finishing races good here lately. Also, check. Comes home in 20th. Allgaier, boy, he looked at times like he could win this race. Gets stuck in the sand, ends up lap down. I counted this ticket as a loss. Fights his way back. Ends up finishing in 17th, 3 spots ahead of his teammate. I will take it. Plus money. Was not easy, but cashes nonetheless. So Justin Allgaier over Sam Mayer at +110.
That's what pissed me off. Justin Allgaier had the best car that he could have, right? I mean, he was going to be a top 5 car at the end of the day. I know that because Justin Allgaier is that kind of driver, and he was looking that good. Freaking backmarker who stayed out on strategy, took him out, and like you said, put him a lap down, put him in the freaking gravel. Somebody who had no business running around inside of the air that Justin Allgaier was in, definitely should not have been in that vicinity. Gets taken out. Took out my top 5 bet. So I'll just go right there. Justin Allgaier does not finish top 5, even though he should have. I swear to God, he would have been in the mix. Maybe not to win this race, but he would have been in the race. Rod's version of put starters on sprint cars and give me the caution button. Let's go. I'm ready.
I don't know if you know the whole starters on sprint cars controversy, Rod. If you've not been to a dirt sprint car race, they have to be pushed off to start. They don't have a starter in the car, and it seems like the obvious thing would be just put a fucking button in there to start the car, so we don't have to push them around everywhere, because we could just start them, and then you got a bunch of trucks on the track and all sorts of things. But people are very against that. Same with the caution button. There's no consistency. It doesn't make any sense. Just give it to you. But whatever. That's how it goes.
Indeed. Should I just go on to my first bet since I covered the Allgaier, or you want to take yours? Because yours is
well, yeah. I mean, ours were kind of they link in together. So go for it. I'll let you start with it.
No, well, go ahead. No, you take it. Cody, it's 500 episodes. I want you to take this. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I've already given one out, and you didn't. So it's your turn, Rod.
But I did. I said Allgaier top 5. He didn't finish top 5.
Oh, you're going out of order. So you got to tell me if you're going to go out of order. Jesus Christ. Okay. Austin Hill.
Episode 1 of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast, everybody. We're still trying to figure things out.
All right, let's have another drink, friends.
Let's have another drink. Cheers, everybody, to 500.
Cheers to 500. Okay.
Drink.
Yeah, Austin Hill top 5, Rod. This had times where it looked pretty good, and we mentioned it. He's been really good on road courses, but he hasn't been good at Watkins Glen. You take the top 5 because the number's so good, he could get it done, and then maybe you take a head-to-head against him, just in case he doesn't finish well. Well, that's what ends up happening, of course. And you hit yours, which you'll talk about in a second, which I thought you were about to talk about. But Austin Hill top 5 at 5-1, as good as he was running at times, I like having this, having had this in my back pocket. You didn't end up for having Byron in this race and Gibbs in this race and all these guys, like they weren't all up there like you sort of expected. It definitely opened up some spots up inside of the top 5. And so, yeah, Austin Hill definitely could have been one of those guys. 5-1, it was worth it. Unfortunately, didn't hit, but fortunately for you, Rod, it did hit in your head-to-head.
Well, yes, because I said Austin Hill. If this were any other road course, if this were Sonoma, if this were Portland, if this were Austin, I would take Austin Hill over Eric Almirola, even though he was in the 20. However, this is Watkins Glen. Austin Hill's he's going to look like he's going to be good. It's Kyle Larson and superspeedways all over again. He's going to be up front. He's going to be in position. He's going to be good, but something's going to happen. Something happened. Now, granted, something happened to the 20 early in the race as well. The 20 starts 8th, right? And then just drops like a friggin' rock. It wasn't mechanical for him. It wasn't even an accident. It just, something happened on that 20, took him right the hell out. Thankfully, he ended up finishing in 26th, where Austin Hill finished in 33rd, because Almirola was still able to wheel his car around, as bad as it was, and Austin Hill just could not after lap 80.
Austin Hill's car was fucking destroyed in that.
Dude, it was munched.
That one big wreck. My goodness, it was rough. So yeah, shout out to you for taking this. And again, like I talked about it when I gave out my Hill top 5. Good to bet on both sides, because if there's good value on the top 5, but if it doesn't hit, you maybe hit this head-to-head. We nailed this angle of things on the weekend, Rod, because I did the same thing with Sam Mayer. I said you take Justin Allgaier over him before because he's not been finishing good. Things happen, whatever. That's what happens. But I also said take his top 5 at plus 275 because the value was there, the number was there. He was a top 5 car throughout a majority of the day, running fast, mixing up with the leaders. You thought at times he was going to have a chance to win this race. So absolutely love that I had this bet. Of course, it doesn't cash. That's where you fall back on the Allgaier over him. Luckily, we didn't get middled on that and not cash either one. But yeah, it worked exactly to plan. And that was why I took both sides of these, because one side or the other was likely going to be one that cashed. This side offered a lot of value. The other side offered some value plus money as well. You hit it, and really it worked out in both scenarios. We did this in both the Mayor or Allgaier over Mayor and the Almirola over Hill. We would have liked to have had the top fives of the number, but both guys showed the top five ability, didn't get it done at the end of the day, and we still cashed tickets on them.
Yeah, and again, I would have loved to have not had this been more a sweat early on, the Almirola over Hill one, because, I mean, right away I thought, damn it, this is where it all ends. The 20 car has problems, and then I was like, but wait for it. Just wait. And then Hill had his problem. I was like, thank you. That's what I wanted to see, because that's what happens. Wait, I want to go back to something Boji Joe asked. Was Harrison Burton a caution? No.
Yes. There was debris. That the car was throwing debris in front of the leaders, Rob.
Nope. Still wasn't
a
caution.
Yes,
nope.
It was.
Don't want to hear it.
Tire carcass flying everywhere. Definitely.
But did they hit it though?
What?
But did they?
No, because they threw a yellow like they're supposed to. You know what should have been a caution is a tire on pit road. How was that not? That tire was on pit road. How is that not a caution? That's been a caution before.
Who swerved to hit it, to miss it?
Like Cody Ware or somebody. Yeah, like just all of a sudden, like, oh shit, there's a fucking tire right there.
Yeah.
But I'm screaming at the TV. That's a caution. Now then, Suarez spins like right after that, gets stuck, and they throw a caution anyways. But when that tire was over there, that should have been a caution, because that is a massive hazard. If somebody nails that and it goes flying back into the pits and hits I was going to say a worker. I don't know why that's what came to mind. A pit crew member, or all the people that are standing there right behind there and stuff, or pops it out onto the track where cars are racing. That is 100% a caution. And I guess there was that deal at Kansas a couple years ago where they let the tires sit in the grass for fucking ever before let the pit cycle work. But that should have been an immediate caution. And another thing they missed, which goes back to the give Rod the fucking caution button.
I'm telling you.
Although Rod doesn't know that debris on the track is a caution, so maybe he doesn't need the button. I don't know. Undecided.
Hold on.
I have till November to vote on this, so I'm waiting.
Well,
I haven't made my decision yet.
My resume is already in for the button pusher, so let's see how that is. Boji Joe agrees with me. Thank you, Boji. 501 episode will feature me and Boji Joe as the new co-host of the NASCAR, the new generation of NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
The next generation. That was our initial slogan. The next generation of NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
We did too. The next gen. We're gonna have to change that. Yeah. I think
because our first episode was at the start of the next gen. I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, we actually did the next gen era.
Yeah, we did. Oh, look at that.
We did.
We're great. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways,
can you believe that? We'll get to that in a second. We got some time after the show to talk about this. Justin Allgaier, top 3. I told you it should not be plus 250. I told you you should not.
What do you? Oh,
Allmendinger.
AJ Allmendinger? You said Justin Allgaier.
Where's my editor?
Is that AJ? Is that AJ Allgaier?
Where's my editor? He needs to tell me what it is. AJ Allmendinger, top 3 plus 250. I told you that it should not be almost 3-1 for the Dinger to be a top 3 car. I wasn't going to win this race, but I guarantee you right now that AJ Allmendinger was always going to be one of the fastest cars on the track.
They weren't the fastest cars, though, Rod.
No, but he was one of
cars.
3.
Were not.
No,
they were not fast, but hey, it's on his way up there. That's all that matters.
But he did. He got it, cashed it, top 3 plus 250. Bank it. If you bet on that one, you were happy.
Yeah, I mean that was the chalky part of this, right? The AJ getting in the top 5, and the top 3, and SVG, and I said take everything Rod just said and play him in the top 5 just to be safe at plus 105. Boom. You hit both levels of the car lift on this. The top 5 at 105, Rod's top 3 at plus 250. And if you look at the results backwards, you hit the group that Rod gave out next.
I'm oh my God. Well, look, Sammy Smith, mechanical stuff.
Like lap 2, he was having problems. My goodness. This bet was sank early, and he's still he ended up 19th. Like, he actually had a good day, much like Denny Hamlin, who we didn't really talk about in the Cup episode, but as horrible as their day looked early, I think he finished 23rd, recovered for a pretty decent day. Same thing for Sammy Smith, but you were fucked in this group because everybody else in this group was just fucking killed it at the end of the day. And they shouldn't have.
Logano should not have finished where Logano finished.
No,
Logano should not have had a
neither
top
should Chastain. This is another time at a road course in this 92 car that Chastain gets a good finish. Oh, next year, Rod, blind bet Ross Chastain top 5 on road courses in this 92 car, because we get these chaotic fucking endings and the dude just comes out of nowhere in this piece of shit car that should not be anywhere near the top 6. And he fucking does it. It's stupid, but great at the same time. And we're going to use this to our advantage in the future.
Yes, we are, because I guarantee you right now, those last couple of cautions were exactly what put them there in the first place, because there was people pitting because they were scared to run out of gas. There are people that were not Scott Dixon and saving all the gas they could. So, I mean, those last couple of cautions threw the world in freaking turmoil, because good cars were pitting and putting in gas just to try to finish the race. If more of them would have stayed out, we would have had a different situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Just that's how it goes. So I had Tyrone Gibbs top 3 plus 120. You can't shortcut the track under caution. Glad we learned that. Luckily for the 88, he recovered from that. Of course, there was some fuel involved in that, but I mean, Ty was up there throughout the day. He was a fast car. He was one of the top 3 cars when that penalty came out, and he tried to stretch it and couldn't. He ran out of fuel on one of those restarts. You're kind of fucked at that point. So plus 120. I feel like he should have been near the top 3 at the end of the day, but wasn't. So that's really all I got.
Well, it's
Ty Gibbs.
Can you believe, though,
the sophomore slump continues, as Rod will tell you later?
I'm telling you right now, I hate to say it, but this is just the truth, guys. Other than the winning car number under 20.5, sorry, 88 is well above 20.5. But I also said to you that there were only a couple of cars over that 20.5 mark that could have bit you in the ass. And unfortunately for us, it did, because guess what? The next best car. Oh, hey, guess what? Sheldon Creed, welcome to second place again. Which, by the way,
12 times, Rod.
Yeah.
12 times in his career. This is his first year in the Xfinity Series. 12 times this season, he's finished in second place.
Yeah, it's insane.
I cannot wait until he is crowned the champion. It's just going to be so glorious. It's going like it's already written down. The script is they're already filming the movie about this. I'm telling you right now. Sheldon Creed is winning the Xfinity Series championship. There's not even any point in running the race.
Gotta love it. Yeah, Sheldon Creed, AJ Allmendinger, the next best cars on the track, both under 20. So I still don't dislike this bet. I just didn't see Connor Zilic coming.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Again, there were so many cars underneath this number, and if you tell us going into this, you're going to get this massive amount of chaos, you're definitely taking under this number, because so many more options and guys who could have hit this underneath. So that's how it goes, Rod. Outrights, I had Byron at 6-1. This one I don't really feel like ever had a chance. Byron was just not that impressive. Early in the race, he was good, right?
Yeah.
Early in the race, he was fast. He kind of got up into second place there for a while. I don't remember if he really led any laps, but then I don't remember. Oh, they had that unscheduled pit stop. That's what it was. He was actually, because he was set to cycle out pretty well with all of the guys having to pit and stuff. And then they end up with the unscheduled tire. He has a tire shake or whatever. And you just never saw him come back after that, unfortunately. So I'd given him out to win. I'd also given him out to sweep. Obviously, he didn't win either one. Mayer at 18-1. This was a great bet. Good value. We saw how fast he was. We saw how he was up in the mix. And then Eric Almirola at 33-1. He goes out in practice and qualifying, and he looks fast. He looks good. He starts well, and he's running fast at the beginning of the race. You never saw 33-1 after that. So I don't hate having had that bet in there. Again, you tell me we're going to have this much chaos, I'm putting more money on Mayer at 18-1 and more money on Almirola at 33-1. Obviously, neither one comes home. But I feel like for long shot bets, I wish Zilic would have been at 18-1, because I would have bet him at that number. The 8-1 was just too short of a number. Obviously, ends up being the right call at the end of the day, but it's just how it goes. So swing and a miss, but I feel like we got really good value on the Mayer and Almirola parts of this. Byron, like, you're still getting a former Xfinity Series champion who's been good here the last 2 races in this car, and his, defending Cup Series race winner here, like 6-1, I still felt like was good. Just we didn't see it in the race.
Yeah, and again, this is just a matter of there was so much happening at the end of that race that made this all kinds of nuts. And one one more move would have, or one less caution could have changed the whole complexion of it. I don't know that Dinger would have won, but at 8-1, this is still a good bet for a guy finishing third. You're almost getting 10-1 for the third place car. Like, this is insane. A guy that owns road courses, a guy that, again, all this fuel mileage. If Zilich would have ran out of fuel, I don't know. I can't remember if Creed was on a different strategy, but Allmendinger had a better strategy.
No, Creed was going to run out. AJ, I think, was also on the same. Because I know AJ, Chandler Smith was good.
Yeah.
There was
a lot going on, and AJ was just on a strategy that was better than, first of all, it's better than Zilich's. I'll tell you that much right now. Zilich stayed out, and I don't know what he did. Maybe he
had that Joey Logano fuel tank, that Scott Dixon fuel tank. We saw it. I mean, man, he made it work. Shout out to him. That was great. Boji Joe Rod would like to know, do we have a preview for Bristol? Who do we love without seeing the number? Well, I don't love anyone until I see the number. I'll tell you that, because the number makes a big difference in this. But guys that I personally have circled and will be interested to see numbers on are Joey Logano.
I was going to say Logano. Damn it. Good job. Yep.
Chris Buescher.
Yep.
Carson Hocevar. Those are kind of the guys I'm most interested to see the numbers. I think that Larson and Denny are going to be your favorites. I think that's going to be well-deserved, and we're going to end up talking about those guys also. Going to have to figure out this tire deal. I don't know. There's going to be a lot of research that has to go into it before you get any official picks. But I will tell you, like, host of our top 10 is circled already. I want to see what that's at, because he's on a fucking tear here lately. Maybe even Corey LaJoy top 10 run. We're going to have to look at it. We'll see. But yeah, and then Logano, Buescher, those are guys that I'm definitely interested in looking at. Again, numbers dictate about everything on the show for the most part, because it makes the biggest difference for sure.
I'm kind of intrigued on what an Eric Jones top 10 would end up being.
Okay.
It's been a while since he's been in the top 10, but he was there a couple of times in 2020. So we'll see how that works.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, well, that puts to bed Watkins Glen. I'm done with Watkins Glen. I don't want to ever talk about Watkins Glen until next season.
Super Speedway, if you could call it by its proper name. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Watkins Glen Super Speedway. I honestly thought the same thing, Cody.
One more thing about Watkins Glen Super Speedway, Rod. Our guy, Steve Shermer from the Golf Gambling Podcast, was at the race, which he's been at for like 30 years in a row or something like that. Tried hitting him up to get him on tonight to get his take. Unfortunately, he's busy, but he did say he's going to have a nice story about a big mush that they had while he was there. So check out the Golf Gambling Podcast, the Tuesday episode, and you'll get a nice NASCAR story from Steve there in person. He's a great dude, big NASCAR fan, and been going to Watkins Glen forever. He was right there when Jimmy Johnson made that wreck in, what was that, like the late 90s, and stood on the hood and made the deal with the devil, as Steve likes to call it, which I agree probably happened in that very term.
Boji Joe says, so is it a praying man or a drunk puking in a toilet?
It's
Boji,
a drunk puking on a toilet.
Drunk
doubt
puking
about
in
it.
a toilet.
You're absolutely
right.
Yep.
Nobody's praying for that kind of a race this weekend. So yeah, definitely drunk puking on a toilet. Cody, 500 episodes, my friend. We have reached rarefied air, honestly, in podcasts. Cheers to everybody. I want to know, as we look back on 500 episodes. I mean, we talked about this a little bit in our. Did we do? I mean, we did the 100 special, but I don't know that we really.
We did 100. I think at like
250. We might have.
Yeah, I think 300. Maybe we did like that question and answer. I don't remember.
Yeah,
but 500 is a pretty big milestone, I think. I mean, they say getting to 100 is like, most podcasts don't get there, and then 500. It's really crazy to think about, especially for like someone like myself that never would have thought I ever would. I almost said no when Rod asked me about doing this podcast, and we could be on episode 500 with somebody else. Who knows? But yeah, to be here at 500, it blows my. If you would have said when we recorded the first episode and I said Sean and Ryan's names wrong and tripped over everything and didn't even have a camera on my computer at the time, that we'd be 500 episodes in, close to 700 subscribers on YouTube, and 5 days a week. I would have not bet on any of that, Rod. So, but it's all thanks to you. So this whole thing was your brainchild. You came up with it and put it all together. You steer the ship. I'm just glad to be a member on the boat that's traveling down the sea here.
So we're odds makers too, right? In our spare time, what would you have put the odds that you would have thought we would have made it to 500 episodes? What would have been your odds?
My odds to make it episode 1 actually even hit the airwaves were like not good at all. 500. I really thought it was going to be 2 or 3, and you're going to be like, "Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate you like trying this out. We're gonna, do something different." And I would have been like, okay, like I told you I was gonna suck at it. So you should have saw this coming. So yeah, 500 is just, now I'm confident we're just never gonna end the show because we're pretty settled in right now doing it good, right? But yeah, this feels like the big milestone. Like 500 is crazy. When we get to 1,000 YouTube subscribers, that's gonna kind of be the next like big thing, because that's of course, all the algorithms love that and everything. So we appreciate the subs and all that. But yeah, 500 episodes is insane.
The world unlocks at 1,000 subscribers for whatever reason. But Nico, congrats, gents.
Fuck Nico, TK, like these people in the chat from New Zealand, Australia. JDK's always in here from Canada. You see some of the like other numbers and stuff at the end of the year, Spotify, like all these random countries and stuff. People list, like I'm literally a beer salesman, like middle class family guy with a wife and a kid that lives in the middle of Nebraska. And people are listening to me talk in Australia and New Zealand. Sort of blows my mind, but
it is kind of wild. Boji Joe, congrats to 500. It's because of listeners like you that keep us there. Nico saying best NASCAR gambling podcast on YouTube. All the others are just circled. Oh my God. Hello. Which fine. It's fine. I like your assessment on that one. I'll tell you this right now. All right. I have been podcasting since 2006. Like this has been something that I've done for many, many, many years. And I remember the first time that I saw all the traffic.
Hold on. Just think of what he just said, folks. 2006, before anybody knew the word podcast, Rod was doing podcasts. Like he is an OG podcaster.
Yeah, you can go look up search Rod's Planet. If you want to go OG Rod Villagomez.
Is that on Apple, Rod?
It is actually still on Apple Podcast right now. Go search Rod's Planet.
That right now.
Have yourself some fun. Have yourself a few of these. I'll tell you that when I was seeing the first demographics come in, and
the fucking picture. Okay, the picture alone is worth it. Definitely put in Rod's Planet and look at this young Rod Villagomez, 2006, the first episode.
It was on AOL. Boji Joe, bro.
My God. That was before AOL. He had a MySpace page about this show.
You're damn right I did. But I remember seeing like where people were listening from it, like it was China and stuff like that. But here's the thing. I will tell you right now.
Those were just the bots, Rod, but
those were bots, which is fine. Hey, I didn't know any better back then. What I love the most about this show, and I've said it before, and now we're 500. I feel like this is kind of a natural, I'm going to fawn all over you guys point, but it really is the listeners. Like it floors me that one person listens to this, let alone the thousands of you that download this and the places that you do it and the community that we've grown on Discord. Cody and I, we want to be on there as much as we can, but the fact that we've had people keeping that thing alive for the last year, right? And it's grown and it's grown and it's grown. We've got the conversation going so much that when I pop on, I'm like, oh my God. Like I literally have to dedicate about an hour of my time to catch up to everything. And even then I wish I could reply because I would love to reply to each and everything, but I can't at this point. So yeah, I mean, look, it's a matter of you. This has always been about you. We're here because we love you and we love communicating with you. We love sharing our passion for NASCAR with you. This is a pick show. Yes. 500 episodes we've given you. Thousands of picks at this point, right? As far as what we think is going to happen in NASCARs. But what I love about you, the listener, is that that's not the driving part of why you come back to this show. Because sometimes our picks are completely off. You come back because you like listening to us talk NASCAR and give you picks, right? That's what this is all about. And you are educated enough to make your own minds up, which is great, because guess what? There's people that cashed on several things that we didn't even give out. But that's why this community is so awesome, is because you guys continue to be the driving train as to why we continue to do this. I'm going to be honest with you. 500 episodes is a grind. I mean, sometimes you wake up in the morning and you're like, I love every single person listening to this show, but I don't feel like talking and being an interject. Today was one of those days, guys. 500 episodes. I should have been excited to jump on this microphone, right? But this weekend was very taxing.
But Rod, how do you feel now? It's therapeutic, isn't it? See?
Love it.
I'm telling you.
Love it.
It truly is. When you have a shitty day and you get to come here with your best friends and talk about NASCAR, makes everything better.
JDK says, Rod, you know who Adam Curry is? You're that level. Adam Curry was the one that coined the term podcast. He was the one that gave podcasting its name because of iPod and the way that people consumed the podcast. It used to be just you download it on your iPod and you listen. And so that's what they couldn't do iCast because Apple had that whole i thing down. So he's like podcast. But Apple actually sued or tried to sue because they were like, well, you can't use pod because we have iPod. And they're like, dude, pod's not even.
It's just a word pod.
Sorry, that's a little podcasting lesson. JDK, don't test me. I was an instructor and taught this in college. But yeah, love it. The Podfather. Yes, sir. That's exactly right.
Go. Nice.
All right. Nico, talk about the show. SGPN gave me an outlet to talk about NASCAR. It's pretty rare to find people who follow NASCAR here in Australia. Hey, man.
Yeah.
We're your family, my friend.
Yeah, and TK too with the Trackhouse SVG Project 91 thing. Like, yeah, SVG literally the reason some of these people listen to us, Rod. So there you go. Gotta love it. It's all
good for everybody.
Yeah, it's all great. We appreciate all you guys. Thanks for sticking around with us as we gush over getting to 500. We'll look forward to the next 500. Maybe
wait. I wanted to ask you real quick. I want to put you on the spot. Stop. We're not done. We're not done. This is 500. They should expect.
I don't like being put on the spot, Rod. Have we not learned this? Can we edit this out?
It's okay. It's okay. You'll like this one. This will be fine. Take a drink while I ask you this question. In these 500 episodes, what is one of your favorite memories of? And it doesn't have to be betting related. It could just be anything of this show.
Oh boy, favorite memory. See, that's a lot of pressure on it. What's my favorite memory? I mean, there's been some.
Kid. You only have one. So.
Yeah, so that's pretty easy. Yeah, I kept that easy. I could pick a favorite kid because I only got one of them. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I love having the outlet to come have my frustrations heard, like Cardboard Gate. That was early on. That was like episode 64. I was trying to find something on the SGP website the other day, and I stumbled on the post for that episode, and it was like creating a safe space for Cody or something is how you titled it. And I think it was like episode 64, somewhere in that range. But being able to like come on here because I was so invested in Elliott that day, and I was all set to make so much money, and he just fucking killed everybody. I'm so fucking right. I'm so good at this. I know what the fuck I'm talking about. And then fucking cardboard on the track, and Christopher Bell wins and just ruined my whole fucking weekend. But then to come on here and talk about it, that's definitely like one of the first things that pops to mind. And then of course, like the 80-1 Raja Caruth, or even like the Truex at Sonoma 35-1, because he just been so shit and we've been making fun. Like that was the first time we made fun of him being retired a couple of years ago. Not even, when we've been talking about it this time. Cody doing ad reads. Yeah. Everybody, that's memorable for everyone, I'm sure. Because I'm not very good. Luckily, I've gotten a little better. Hey, we've come a long ways. I've hosted the show by myself a few times even, which has been an experience for sure. But yeah, I guess all that stuff. There's been a lot of great times over the years. And look, this is like just come like a space to come hang out with our friends. I get to come talk to you, which we've obviously become great friends over these 500 episodes. You're not doing 500 episodes of a podcast with somebody if you don't get along. I promise you that. We get along really well and talk and everything. And then JDK and Nico and Boji Joe and everybody in the chat, like you guys are all our friends too, that you get to interact with us, and you don't maybe not have a microphone, but you can type in the chat and we can respond to you, and we can go back and forth and make the jokes. And I could tell Nick that the Hawkeyes suck, and he can make fun of me when he beats me in the Knoxville pool, and it's a lot of fun. So yeah, it's always a great time. Boji Joe, we have never met in person physically.
Nope.
Only through the screen, which is, again, the craziest thing, because we've done 500 episodes. You know how many hours we've spent talking to each other, Rod? And then I think we had a 15-minute conversation before we started recording the podcast tonight. Like just chatting, and we text all the time and everything, and we've become great friends. That you consider you one of my best friends. And yeah, we've never met in person yet. It's going to happen. We both have very busy and hectic lives, but we are going to make something happen, and it's going to be around a NASCAR race for sure. And we'll get there. But hey, that's the great thing about technology and all this. Like, you don't have to meet to become friends. We can all be great friends, and not even, half of you guys, I don't even know what you look like. Boji Joe looks like a jellyfish to me. So
Shrimp. I think it's a shrimp.
Is that what it is? Okay. I don't even know what it is. But hey, that's what it looks like.
Yeah. So, and honestly, okay. So as I go back and through, and obviously meeting you first and foremost, like you said, I mean, we may have never actually physically shook hands before in person, but like I spend more time with you than I do any other coworker I have in this entire world, and sometimes even more than my own family, which is fine, because sometimes that's the way it is. But I meeting you has been the highlight, because I remember plucking you out of the Slack, knowing full well that I had a gem on my hand, because you were the one that was ringleading the entire Slack channel, and picking you was the best decision I made in my career so far, because 500 episodes, I've never done 500 episodes of any show before. This is the most I've ever done of a show. And like Cody said, you don't do 500 episodes if you don't get along with the person that you're doing it with. And I truly treasure the fact that you and I are still talking after 3 years.
Well, that's the thing. Like, we've never really had, like, we make fun of the Xfinity episode sometimes because we'll disagree on a pick and stuff, but we've never had like an argument about anything. I don't think, honestly, like, knock on wood. I don't like, I've never been like, never fuck you or nothing. Like, it's just,
Yeah. Because you know why? It's because we're both Pisces. We're both in that range.
Yeah, I think so.
I think we get along too well together. And then my second favorite memory of this entire show is seeing you go solo for the first time. Somebody brought it up too about you going solo. I remember thinking to myself how proud I was of.
That's not what I was thinking about. But
but listen. But for me, it was like that moment where I knew that you learned what you needed to learn in doing the show, and you were able to translate it into your own. And so,
and you can take you can take 100% credit for it, because I had coming into it nothing. Nope, I don't like getting up in front of a room talking to people. And now I've hosted the show solo. I've been to the local racetrack and been the pit announcer and all this stuff, which is all thanks to you, because you've taught me everything I know. And like, yeah, I mean, really, anything I do is all thanks to you. So, I do want to thank you again, because, you picked me out of nothing, and you've molded me into at least something. So, it's all. If I suck, it's your fault, and if I'm good, it's all thanks to you. So that could go either way for you.
No, I love it. Listen, you picked yourself. You just didn't know it at the time. You were the one that was blazing your own trail in that one. All right. We're glad hadn't enough. But listen, if you made it this far into the episode, and you know that this is a big deal, because we were gonna do some flourishing and some all, but that's not us. I mean, 500, we're happy we made it, but we don't do the pomp and circumstance. We're just here to have fun talking NASCAR and talking to each other and talking to you. So that we figured we'd keep it the same as always, right?
Exactly. And we'll be back for 501 on Tuesday.
Ooh, Levi's 501. All right, let's go lick our wounds. We'll be back for 501 on Tuesday, talking Cup, talking Bristol, baby.
Bristol, Saturday night, short track racing, cutoff race in the playoffs. This will be an easy one to predict, guys. It's going to be chalk. Come back. Join us on Tuesday, and we'll tell you all about it.
No, listen, shut up. We're done with the chalk thing. Like, I don't ever, in fact, I don't want to go to school tomorrow because I don't want to see any chalk.
I made my daughter throw all the chalk in the house out today. I said, fuck chalk. We're not using this shit ever again.
But Dad, I wanted to write in the driveway. No, get that chalk out of here. We're done.
You get the sidewalk paint. We're not using chalk anymore.
I love it. Tire fall off, indeed. Nico, one last thought before we go. These two together is what really makes the show. Just don't doubt yourself, Cody. I agree with him.
My self-doubt's gone now. It was there for a long time, but I'm feeling good now. So that's all.
We're all good. All right. Snozberries for everyone.
Folks. Yes.
Let's go home.
For everyone. Follow me over on the X at @Husker_Zeeb. Find all my stuff there. And yeah, we'll see you guys all on Tuesday. Appreciate it.
Sir.
Thanks for 500. See you for the next 500.
500 more and beyond. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link is about all the stuff I've got going on. You know the drill by now. And if this is your first time listening to the episode, yeah, thanks for listening.
You're still listening. Hell yeah, you're in for the next 500 for sure.
You are a ride or die. We'll see you guys on Tuesday to talk about Bristol. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, let's go racing. Cheers to 500. Here's to 500 more. Let it ride.